Guerrilla Podcast Syndicate production. GMG, your guide to Australian dream. Learn how to make your Australian dreams come true with GMG Visa Solutions, your guide to Australian dream. This fortnightly podcast provides general advice about migration law and practice, whether it be for studying, working, visiting, migrating to Australia, petitioning for your visa refusal or cancellation, or obtaining Australian citizenship. GMG Visa Solutions got you covered. GMG, your guide to Australian dream.
Good day, everyone. Welcome to another episode of GMG Visa Solutions, your guide to Australian dream. This is your host, Jeroslyn Glico-Kowarskis, and this is brought to you by Guerrilla Podcast Syndicate and Auspod Syndicate, independent podcast networks for people worldwide. To learn more, please visit www.guerrillapodcast.com.ph and www.australiapodcastsyndicate.com. For today's episode, in relation to our last episode about Subclass 500, which is the student visa, we will now introduce to you Subclass 590. So Subclass 590 is also known as a student guardian visa. This visa is for people who want to visit Australia to support a child who holds a student visa. For those who like, follow, and share our Facebook page, GMG Visa Solutions, and also our podcast, thank you very much, and may you continue to support us. Also, thank you for those who have sent the inquiries, and rest assured that we will reply to you and provide you with general advice. If you want comprehensive and specific advice tailored to your circumstances, please do not hesitate to contact us. Australian laws are constantly changing. The general advice we provide on the podcast is current on the time that we made this recording. Because of how often migration law changes, the general information provided today may not be applicable tomorrow. That is why GMG Visa Solutions is here for you. Anyway, just a reminder, whatever we talked about on this podcast are only general information, not in any way specific. This is due to everyone having different circumstances. So let's begin. As I mentioned earlier, Subclass 590, or most commonly known as a student guardian visa, is intended for people who wants to come to Australia to provide care and support for a student visa holder who is under 18 years old, or it can be older if they're having exceptional circumstances. This visa is temporary, and the length of the visa will determine by the student visa holder's stay and also their age. With this visa, you can include a child who is under 6 years old. The child must meet the health requirements and must also have health insurance for the duration of his or her stay in Australia. If your child is over 6 years old, then he or she needs to apply for another student visa. The visa fee is $620 Australian dollars for the main applicant and free for additional applicant who is included in the same application. The processing time for this visa is 4 months for 75 to 90% of the applications. If you are a holder of a student guardian visa, you can travel in and out of Australia, provide care and support for one or more student visa holders, and study an English language intensive course for overseas students or ELICOS for less than 20 hours per week, or any other study or training for no more than 3 months. Most importantly, you must know that with this visa, there is no work rights, meaning you cannot work while you are holding this visa. Visa applications can be done inside or outside Australia, and you can be either onshore or offshore when the visa is granted. If granted this visa, the Department of Home Affairs will digitally link your visa to your passport. You do not need a label or a sticker in your passport to enter Australia. You can travel in and out of Australia as many times as you want, provided that you have made alternative welfare arrangement while you are away from the student visa holder. For those who doesn't know what a welfare arrangement is, this is a requirement for any student visa holder in Australia who is under 18 years old. Welfare arrangement can be demonstrated in 3 circumstances. Number 1 is if the student visa applicant is accompanied by a parent or a legal guardian. Number 2 is if the student visa holder is accompanied by a suitable relative who is 21 years old or older. Number 3 is when the student visa holder's education provider issues a confirmation of a proper accommodation and welfare letter. This is also known as CAAW or COW letter. If the student education provider issues the COW letter, that means that they approve of the student visa holder's arrangement for accommodation, support, and general welfare. Let's go now to the eligibility requirements. Number 1, you can apply for a student guardian visa whether you are inside or outside Australia. If you are applying for a student guardian visa on shore, there are certain visas in which you must not have held while you are in Australia. These visas are the following: Subclass 426 or Domestic Worker Temporary Diplomatic and Consular Visa, Subclass 403 which is the Temporary Work International Relations Visa in the Domestic Worker Diplomatic or Consular stream, Subclass 995 which is the Diplomatic Temporary Visa. So for this visa, this is applicable for the primary visa holder only. A family member of a Diplomatic Temporary Visa Subclass 995 can apply for a student guardian visa in Australia. Another visa you must not have held is Subclass 771 which is the transit visa. Next one is Subclass 600 which is the visitor visa in the sponsored family stream or approved destination status stream. The second eligibility requirement is that you must either be a parent of a student visa holder or a custodian of a student visa holder or a relative of a student visa holder who is age 21 or older and nominated by the parent or custodian of the student visa holder. If you are either of these three, your purpose will be to provide care and support for a student visa holder who is under 18 years old, or if 18 years old or over, a student visa holder who needs care and support due to exceptional circumstances. Who are considered a relative of a student visa holder, you may ask? The people who are considered a relative for the purpose of this visa are the following: parent or step-parent, grandparent or step-grandparent, sibling or step-sibling, aunt, uncle, step-aunt or step-uncle, niece, nephew or step-niece or step-nephew, partner, child, or stepchild. Another eligibility requirement is that if you are a student guardian, you must able to provide accommodation, general welfare, and support to the student visa holder. The fourth eligibility requirement is as a student visa guardian, you must have enough money to fund yourself, fund the student visa holder, and any children who come to Australia with you. To work out how much money is needed, the following factors must be considered. The first consideration is the travel expense for you, student visa holder, and any children included in your application. Next is the 12 months course fees for the student visa holder. Third one is the 12 months specified annual living cost for you. The next one is the 12 months of living costs for the student visa holder and any accompanying family members. And lastly,
Like what you hear so far? Make sure you never miss an episode by clicking on the subscribe button now. This podcast is possible by listeners like you. Thank you for your support. Now back to the show.
School fees for school-aged children who accompany you. Travel expense varies. Some factors that may affect the amount of travel expense are the country where the applicant is coming from, the airlines used, and the travel season. In terms of course fees, it also varies depending on the choice of course of study of the student visa holder. To give you a rough idea about the living cost for 12 months, for students or student guardians, it's 21,041 Australian dollars. For a child coming with you who is under 6 years old, it's 3,152 Australian dollars. For the student visa holder, 12 months course fees varies. Schooling costs for school-aged children included in the application is roughly 8,296 Australian dollars per year for each child. This may also vary depending on which state or territory you will be located. If your spouse or de facto partner who is not traveling with you to Australia has an annual income of 72,592 Australian dollars or more in the 12 months immediately before you apply, this can be an alternative to cover the living cost requirement. Evidence supporting this claim must be an official government document such as tax assessment notice less than 12 months old. Bank statements and employer letters will not suffice. The fifth eligibility requirement is that if you are bringing a child under 6 years old in Australia, there must be a compassionate and compelling reason for this. Next requirement is that if you have any other family member who is not coming with you in Australia who is under 18 years old, then you must make adequate arrangement for them, such as accommodation, support, and welfare. The Department of Home Affairs will consider that you made adequate arrangement if the child under 18 years old is living with other parent or custodian or a relative at least 21 years old. Another requirement is that as a student guardian visa applicant, you must have adequate health insurance for the whole period of your intended stay in Australia. You and any family member included in the application must be covered for medically necessary treatment, including transport. Next requirement is that you must meet the genuine temporary entrant requirement. You must only intend to stay temporarily in Australia. You can meet this requirement by making a personal statement through a letter addressing the following factors: your personal circumstances in your home country, your potential circumstances in Australia, your immigration history, and anything else that relates to your plan to remain to Australia temporarily. Other eligibility requirements are: you must meet character requirement. You must meet health requirement. If you are 18 years old or over, you must sign the Australian value statement that confirms that you will respect Australian way of life and obey Australian laws. You must not owe any money to the Australian government. If in any case you have outstanding debts, then it must be paid up first prior to the visa application. If you are unsure, you must not have held any visa cancellation or previous visa refusal. If there's a minor involved, meaning a child under 18 years old, it must be on his or her best interest when he or she travels to Australia. Let's now go to the visa conditions for a student guardian visa. Visa conditions are like limitations or restrictions or rules applicable to a person who is a lawful non-citizen of Australia. If these visa conditions are attached to the visa grant notice, the person must abide with it, otherwise the visa might be cancelled. You must obey with Australian laws. So what are the potential conditions that may be attached to Subclass 590 visa? Condition 8101 is a no work restriction, which means that when you are in Australia, you must not do paid work. Condition 8201 allows Subclass 590 visa holders to study up to 20 hours per week on an English language intensive course for overseas students or ELICOS. Condition 8501 requires you to always maintain a health insurance. Condition 8502 states that you must not arrive before the student visa holder arrives in Australia. Condition 8516 states that you must continue to satisfy the criteria for the grant of the visa. Condition 8534 is a no further stay condition, meaning you cannot apply for another visa while in Australia aside from another Subclass 590 visa or a protection visa. Condition 8537 requires you, as a student guardian visa holder, to live with the student visa holder and provide for their accommodation, support, and welfare. Condition 8538 states that you cannot leave Australia without the student visa holder with you and without the approval from the Department of Home Affairs. Again, these conditions are just potential conditions that may apply to you if you are granted a Subclass 590 visa. So that's it. These are the basic information you need to know about Subclass 590 visa, or most commonly known as a student guardian visa. If you have any questions or if there's anything that you want us to discuss on our podcast, please do not hesitate to contact us. We cannot stress enough that whatever we talked about on this podcast are only general information and not in any way specific. The reason being is because everyone has different circumstances. It is best to contact us so we can guide and provide you with visa options suitable to your preferences and needs. we listen to you and deliver professional and flexible migration assistance catered for you. You can hear this podcast on different podcasts and media platforms, so please do not forget to like, follow, and share our Facebook page GMG Visa Solutions and our podcast as well. You can contact us directly through our Facebook page, email us at inquire@gmgvisasolutions.com.au, or visit our website at www.gmgvisasolutions.com.au for more information. We pride ourselves with well-trained consultants who are equipped and qualified to provide migration services wherever you are in the world. With our comprehensive knowledge and expertise on various migration issues, we can simplify it for you. No more complicated processes, just a straightforward approach that saves you time, money, and effort. So until next time, keep dreaming, keep praying. Dreams do come true. Thank you for listening to GMG Visa Solutions, your guide to Australian dream. See you everyone, and may God bless us all always.
Thank you for listening. Make sure to visit our website at www.GUERRILLAPodcastSyndicate.com, where you can subscribe to the show in Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or via RSS, so you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, rate and review this podcast and share it with your friends. You can also join the conversation with Guerrillas RV on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Please consider on making a donation to help us keep making the podcast you love. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. A Guerrilla Podcast Syndicate production.